But I also love the design aesthetic of the movie and how it fits into the Star Wars saga. You see, the prequels are a metaphor about the fall of the Roman Republic. The original trilogy was about the fall of the Roman Empire. And, historically, after the Roman Empire fell, next came the Dark Ages.
Things went to shit.
I don't even know where he's going with it.
You know,
Bring
that
it back.
medieval period when we think of knights and castles and wizards. And we see this concept permeate the production design of
I think of
Force
wizards,
Awakens.
yeah.
Yeah, I think of wizards all the time.
When the Roman Empire fell, that's when all the wizards came out. The only thing keeping them in check was the Roman Empire. The great emperors of old kept the wizards in their place, and now they were running amok, casting spells, enchanting objects.
Lightning bolt.
Everywhere.
Oh,
You know what?
things went to shit.
You know Sam Hai meme where he goes, "What's going on, big guy?" This is like that part of the video. Like, what's happening here, Chief? What are you
Well,
talking
a lot of people don't know
about?
this, but the weather, that's actually the wizards. Constantly casting spells.
And they're
Crazy.
glow sticks.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren leads the Knights of Ren. He wears a medieval tunic and he carries...
Yeah, but they're called Jedi
No,
Knights.
but-
So how do you account
Yeah, I
for
was
that?
gonna say.
They were called Jedi Knights as far back as in the prequels and earlier than that. So doesn't this kind of fuck
Whatever,
with
the
the
Knights
analogy
of
of
the
it being
old
Middle Ages?
Republic.
Yeah.
The Knights of Ren were nothing. Like, I don't care about this, like, surface level
but
analysis.
The Knights of Ren were meant to make you think of the medieval period. That was the point of them being called knights. Not
And
like
the
those Jedi Knights that were meant to make you think of the Legionnaires from
Oh,
Rome, I
Lord.
guess.
Do you see his lightsaber? It's a stand-in for a cross or something.
Oh, he's getting. Oh no, please don't.
carries a crossguard saber like a medieval sword.
Come on! Come on!
Also, Maz Kanata's castle with its medieval banners. Luke, at the end,
What?
takes on the
What are
appearance
you
of a
talking
banner.
about? Like,
Dude,
Wait, is
This
Why
is
didn't
like
you show the banners?
Is
Where?
Space
What
Wizard?
banners?
Is that where we're going?
they were banners, but like,
What the hell?
Maz Kanata's
He's crushing.
sequence is fucking tiny in the film. Like, you don't got more than that.
Old wizard, you know, like Merlin.
he's like
and we
crushing
even
the
see
rock
Rey.
to try to get some water from it or some
Again,
shit. Like, this is
How?
like,
Sorry, how are you saying like, oh yeah, see, Luke looks like a wizard, Middle Ages? It's like what for wearing the attire that the Jedi have always worn in all the films that were meant to be based on Rome. This is stupid.
This is what I mean about
analogy.
surface level. There's nothing interesting happening here. He's just sort of picking and choosing at random shit.
It works way
Yeah.
better for the prequels because the prequels do borrow basically from the Jedi and the role of the Praetorians, and then the basic sequence of events is exactly the sequence of events that leads to the Emperor dissolving them after a probably faked coup that they were supposed to stage. Lucas is obviously drawing heavily on classical influences and telling this story of the fall of a republic. One of the things that makes the sequel so uninteresting by comparison is that they don't have the kind of thing he's talking about. There isn't really a grand sort of story that it's harking back to. There aren't these epic themes that have redounded through history that it's trying to recreate. It's empty in the way that the prequel trilogy wasn't. So, like, he could be making that point, but not about these movies.
How does Unkar Plutt fit into all this?
He
Hero?
is like, come back to me.
He's a
All right,
slave
never
owner.
Oh no!
He's just one of those fat emperors.
He's
who
also
just was
This is a
giving out
reminder,
portions.
the most influential figure in Rey's life.
In Rey's
that
life, yeah, we never got to see anything from him. Like, he's such an important. Him and Snoke.
he
just got
defined who
drafted.
she is, and he's not even mentioned when she's gone.
Rey pulled the sword from the snow like Arthur pulling Excalibur.
Oh, fuck
oh,
off.
shut
And
up.
in no
Shut up.
way is that even close.
Well, it kind of
Holy,
it
he's just-
rhymes. Stone,
he's re-
snow.
No, stone is
As close as you
close.
got.
If you had a
That
list,
is
they
reach.
sound similar, yeah.
It's like
Reach
Halo
of the
Reach.
stars.
Jesus fuck. Like,
Holy
You know
shit.
how Rey picks up an object? She's basically King Arthur.
No. And yes, it is really stupid that the Empire is just
no,
bad
you could
now.
just
Why are
no,
you
no,
here?
wait,
But-
wait. He could have just said, "I know it's really stupid," and you can cut the video. It's
Well, that's like that's a central plot. That's the emergence of the villains of the entire trilogy, and you're like, well, I guess they're back now. And we
He
just
needs to
like,
skip
oh, you're
over it
just gonna
quickly.
throw that out there. Yeah, he does. We
And
have
you-
to
you-
dismiss this as something.
You sense the hostility in his voice. Like, he's like, "Oh, the people about this. Okay, yes, it makes no. Let's talk about why it makes no sense." And so many
Yeah.
fucking things are fucked because Snoke is he's everything. He fucking is the key to everything, and we didn't explain a single thing about him.
It almost
And he
feels
ended up being
like-
a test dude, maybe.
an old criticism, doesn't it? Because of all the crazy, specific, and nonsense things that have happened since. But yes, the revival, the full revival of the Empire was a huge, like, excuse me, what the fuck are you doing, universe? And it's like, shut up. Okay.
Excalibur from the stone. And yes, it is really stupid that the Empire is just back now.
Why are you here?
But J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan said that their premise was, what if the Nazis hid out in Argentina and then returned? Now, yes, this...
I don't care what they said.
First of all, that's not
shit.
even analogous at all in terms of what happened. Yeah. They come back bigger and stronger than ever.
Exactly.
Yes, like what if the Nazis hid out in Argentina and built a Death Star planet and then came back with a bigger army than they had when they left Germany?
The powers should have been reversed. We should have seen the dark side with like as small as the rebellion. And the rebellion should have been like like amassed a lot of power by now. We should have seen them.
What if they were 10 times stronger than when they were at their peak? You're like, how? You're just like, magic.
They're just magically stronger than ever. It makes no sense. Just
that's what they said, right? That I think there's additional lore you can find that the Emperor was conjuring the Star Destroyers. Conjuring.
Okay.
Excuse me? Yeah,
from the Star Destroyer universe, it's like the poop dimension. Mm-hmm. There's just a whole dimension full of Star Destroyers, and he can just bring them in.
And for the record, Death Star Destroyers. That's what they could do. They'd blow up planets.
Star Destroyers.
This does take away from the victory in Return of the Jedi, but that's life, isn't it? I mean, the political...
What? That's life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this thing in the movie doesn't make sense, but c'est la vie.
Wait, this is the guy. This is the guy protecting the validity of the sequel trilogy's existence, right? And he just goes, "Just happens, guys. Just shut up and deal with it."
Well, that's life. Is like the notion of sometimes things come back. It's like that does not cover what we're looking at.
Back into office, just like night always follows day. The trilogy.
Night always follows day. What?
It's like
what? Are we trying to be poetic here? Or?
What do I do with this?
Kind of, but if you're saying that the fall of Rome was the fall of the Empire, where is Rome now?
Yeah,
I don't know. This on top is confusing to me.
What is? There's got to be a difference between it comes back eventually and it comes back bigger, better, and faster and stronger than could ever be conceived.
So I guess, Ripperooty. That's.
I think everybody was interested in the idea of a remnant empire. That's cool. That's interesting, but not what the fuck they did.
They had to skips over the bit where they actually make the story about how evil always comes back. It just had evil back already, so it didn't bother with the interesting storytelling elements. It's one of the only. I think it is the only half-decent episode of Mando season 3, isn't it? The one when they're on Coruscant under the New Republic, and you sort of see the way the administrative state is recreating some of the worst features of the old Imperial rule. That's kind of interesting, and I'd have liked to see more of that. But then the rest of Mando season 3 happened. But that's categorically not what any of the sequel films did. It was just, hey, here's an interesting story that happened way back, so we're just running with it now.
That episode's like a fever dream. It's like someone like randomly cares about.
What if I had a story? What if we explored the lore of this this world?
Bizarre,
some characters and some interesting interactions, and also it has nothing to do with fucking Mando.
They just hijacked the writing room or something. I don't know. But yeah, we see little glimpses, like as also like we did in Andor. The fact that they just skip over it in the sequel trilogy where it matters most is a disaster.
We wouldn't want to bore people with politics now, would we?
Yeah, no, it's stupid.
Pay no attention to Game of Thrones and its cultural domination for almost a decade.
That fell worse than Rome.
That fell worse than Rome. Look, the fall of Rome gave birth to other things. Game of Thrones just died and burnt to a crisp, and everyone hates it. Geez. People want the Roman Empire to come back. People don't want Game of Thrones to come
Stay in the fucking grave.
His premise here is that evil is cyclical, and if we're not careful, that evil we thought we defeated is going to come back.
Why the hell did you show Darth Vader for the evil we thought we defeated? That was after he'd fucking killed the Emperor.
That evil we thought.
That wrong visual, pal.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, and
they do a lot of research on this channel. He said so.
Yeah.
Like he says it's cyclical, but he doesn't explain or he doesn't even bother to set up how the cycle restarted. He just said, just happens, it disappears, you fucking deal with it.
I'm sorry,
things are cyclical, and they are for a reason. We can explore the reasons. Not everything is probably cyclical. We just notice the ones that tend to be.
He doesn't like like his theory would have worked if like in the first sequel movie we saw the Empire like we've been discussing now, like how the remnant empires tried to go back to the ashes. This is just like a fucking you remember that scene in the Force Awakens where there's like a fucking Nazi group, there's a Nazi battalion shot and there's a building and they're like, oh, let's defeat these fucking guys, and then this stormtroopers were cheering. It's not so much a cycle as you missed this big base or like this big part of the empire. Like the cycle, it's not a cycle. It's so wrong. Like the statement is so wrong.
I wish to rant more about this choice of visual.
It's like if you're exploring a cycle, you should show it's a circle. It's like a circle, right? Show how it developed. This is like just we're here. Fucking deal with us.
It's like we're doing a cycle because cycles happen. That's our cycle.
Yeah,
like that's not a cycle.
You know how cycles happen, right? Boom, story done.
Boom, boom, we're back. Good job, idiot.
Context here is Luke is like doing a funeral for his father as a celebration, and an honoring of the person he believed him to be and proved himself to be in the end. And this guy's commentary of the scene would be like, Luke is burning the evil and he's hoping it'll never return. It's like, what?
You watch the scene, you fucking idiot. Like, Jesus. Tell your sister you were right. Like this is like a legit father and son moment.
It was a really good fucking scene. He said it's like get rid of the evil. Like no.
And if we're
He's
not
going
careful,
for like a visual storytelling of, you see Darth Vader is burning, and then we have someone that looks like Darth Vader and he's resurrected again.
Yeah, well, the problem with that, of course, was that they reveal in the third film that it was the Emperor that was speaking to Kylo with Vader's voice. It was like, so where the fuck was Anakin this whole time?
Where's Anakin?
He's too busy teaching Ahsoka how to stare into the middle distance again.
Yeah. Oh my god, that made it so much worse. The fact that he's spending time with Ahsoka, but he won't talk to his son. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, have you considered that maybe she's more important?
Oh boy, is she. Her and Rey need to team up and make the worst fucking Star Wars movie in history.
Anakin was talking to Rey at the end to give her power.
The real chosen one.
No, he won't actually help Kylo.
Have Rey and Ahsoka fight over who's the real chosen one out of those two. That'd be funny.
It'll be like a trial by combat. The gods will decide which one of them is actually the OCest of them all.
It'll never end because neither of them can die.
No. Ahsoka wins because she has the weeaboo katana, so she wins, right?
Well, I mean, I was about to say...
Rey's Rey. What are you talking about? It's Rey.
It is, yeah, Rey's one of the most invincible, because you would argue is like, Rey has died and come back to life. It's like, yes, so's Ahsoka. Like, fuck.
Who's the more special
one? Trouble for shit.
Rey will, like, phase the weapon out of her hand and another dimension or something, or whatever the fuck she did to pass her weapon to Kylo. Like, those two are just... You can't do that.
Mm-hmm. When Rey hears all those like Jedi voices, is Anakin one of them? That's so embarrassing for him.
That's
what I'm saying. So he's willing to help Rey, but he ignores Kylo.
Yeah, when he saw everything collapsing with his son and grandson, he was like, day and night cycles, whatever.
Whatever.
The entire story could have just been prevented if he turned up and say, "That voice in your head, that's not me." And
he's like, "Oh my god, Grandpa, can you talk to me about?" He's like, "No, you're weird, dude." Like, I'm just
yeah,
cut your hair, bro.
Or just going to Luke and saying, "Just
your shirt on
before you go and try and kill your nephew, consider that there might be a more adult way of dealing with this problem." It's like so many. Anakin being on the scene as a Force Ghost solves everything, but fuck it.
He's like, "Where have you been, Dad?" He's like, "I thought you had this. I thought you had it. I was gonna leave you be. I was gonna let you live your life, but I come back and look at all this." Fucking insane shit, man. Crazy. Then you're like, what about Yoda? Why did he turn up? It's like, well...
You know how Yoda is. He's a crazy guy.
He's so nutty, that Yoda. You never know what he's up to.
Oh, he's a wacky dude. Boy, let me tell you about the first time I met Yoda.
He stole my little sausage. It's true. Go watch the scene.
That evil we
Told me
thought
about
we
the
defeated
seagulls.
Is going to come back. See, this is why Han has such a central role in this film. He believes that he failed as a father, so he reverts back to his old pre-father lifestyle.
Yeah, his whole pre-father lifestyle of being an awful human being who just fails at everything, including his job that he's amazing at.
And sells his
Thanks
medal
so much for that,
fucking booze or whatever
JJ.
it
I
was.
really appreciate it.
Someone did send a correction in. Apparently, he didn't sell his medal for booze. He sold Luke's medal for booze.
Dang, that's even worse. At least
That's
Would
why
it?
Luke went into it.
that's worse.
It
His
is
medal
worse.
was technically his to sell. My goodness.
That's
I hate it. I hate it all.
I despise the he went back to what he knew. It's like being a horrible person to everyone he cares about. I don't think so.
The whole
the
arc,
trifecta,
his
they
whole
made him
arc in
a-
the original trilogy is to get him beyond that point. This could
Yeah.
only work if you go back on the entire growth arc that he went on, from selfish smuggler to hero of rebellion who will sacrifice for the greater good. So, like, his selfish pre-father lifestyle is actually learning how to be a hero. And then he doesn't even fuck up with his son, because Luke does that.
Yep.
And then he decides, sod it, I'm going to go and be an alcoholic. And even though I am an incredibly famous person, smuggling is definitely a job that famous people can do. No one's going to suspect me. That'll work. I won't be arrested and spotted instantly, because this isn't how the galaxy works for some reason.
Well, and then he's also terrible at it. He owes everybody in the galaxy money. Apparently, he can't complete any jobs. It's like, when the fuck did that happen?
The one thing he's good at, he wants to go back to. But
And you
then
know what
they
it
show him
is?
he's crap.
One
They were
thing
like,
you
oh, well,
reverted
if,
back to and they made you shit at
It's
it.
like, if you watch
Yeah.
that film called Star War, you'll find he was actually indebted to Jabba. So we put him back to what he just gets in debt with everyone. That's what he does. That's his thing. You're like,
It's a cycle. It's one of those cycles we were talking about.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God, and
No,
he
they-
also
they-
happens to lose Millennium Falcon.
oh yeah,
like-
misplaced
What
that.
did that happen?
Sit in
He just lost it.
space.
He just lost the keys. Dropped. It's like, it's so stupid, man.
Fucking
They
happened
made him
to
a bad
be
father,
in-
a bad husband, and then now a bad friend with the whole Luke thing. Like, why would?
Well,
They do
that's
all
why
that?
it all got stupider and stupider. It's like fucking Palpatine's granddaughter happens to live right next to a scrapyard that the Millennium Falcon was fucking dropped into. It's like, really? That's great. Nothing about that. That's retarded in every way, shape, and
Yeah,
form.
and the story doesn't happen because she is next to the Millennium Falcon, and that happens to be who the story is about. That's just completely coincidence.
Dude,
It's
yeah,
like winning the
Wow.
lottery right when you need a whole bunch of money for the plot to
Mhm.
happen.
someone just mentioned this. There's no one left in the galaxy for you to swindle. It's like, he wasn't a swindler. He was a smuggler. Jobs would be completed. What the fuck are you talking about? It's not like he tricked Luke, Leia, and Obi-Wan when he did the job for them. It's like, aha, I swindled you. It's like, no. I mean, obviously, he thought he was getting
I'm a
a
swindler,
good
it's
deal
what
out
I
of
do.
it. But the fact is that what they were doing was saving the world, so...
It's like they treat his whole character based off the first couple scenes of. They ignore. It's like
Yeah, he's
weird.
sitting in a bar in the cantina. That is
That's
Han
Han.
Solo.
ripping people off.
Hey, we
and
heard it
shooting
from
people.
JJ himself.
That's it.
He's
pew 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 pew. He's
man with a
pew pew
gun.
guy.
He shoots the gun. That's what Han Solo does.
Yeah,
Guy with a gun.
pew pew.
Pew pew.
Damn. With this context, Chewie, wow. I don't. What a loyal doggy.
Yeah, and like, these guys reconnecting was him just being like, and she's like, and then they hug.
Why would we want to see this? Awkward as hell. Like, see,
It
just
sucks, dude.
destroyed relationship.
This is what I mean.
Destroyed relationship and missing Luke.
I think everybody's
Oh
good
wait,
faith was just through the fucking roof, so that anything they were providing in this film that has any of these characters interacting in any way was acceptable to an extent. But then in retrospect, it's horrific, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
especially after
Oh,
losing all the potential now.
he's gonna cycle the Han death with the Obi-Wan death. I can feel it. I can see it happening.
I mean, other people have
Like,
before, but he might try it, yeah.
Yeah, the narrator guy, host, is gonna say that. I feel it.
I went back to the only thing I was ever any good at.
Han's arc is to realize that he can't leave behind everything he fought for. So
Oh, wow!
Han has an wait. Han has an arc.
He realizes he can't abandon those people he loves. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's the same for Luke.
something-
Luke realizes he can't abandon everyone he loves.
Just
Also, I'm
suddenly.
really glad that this is the lesson they decided to have Han Solo learn in this movie. Like, gee, thanks, film.
Exactly. It's insane. Nonsense.
Like, you guys know how Han Solo is shit, right? It's like, no, I didn't know that. This is news to me.
comes back to fight the new Death Star and to fight for his son. And as far as the movie being a copy of A New Hope, so is The Phantom Menace. And
By the way, it literally doesn't matter where this sentence goes. Nothing absolves The Force Awakens for anything.
There's no human being on planet Earth who thinks that in the same vein as A Force Awakens that Phantom Menace is a clone of A New Hope. No fucking way.
Horseshit.
Yeah.
Complete horseshit.
Nonsense.
New Hope, so is The Phantom Menace, and a lot of people like Doug here love that movie.
That's true. I really do like that movie.
I mean, hell, A New Hope is actually a copy of many different genres and films. The difference is...
Okay.
If it's a copy of many things simultaneously, it's not a copy.
Can you see that selection you put up on screen? Look at Dune, like, like obviously
Dune,
the influence. We understand that, but
Feel the headache.
And a medieval painting. It's a copy.
How could you? It's like someone photocopying your work and holding it up as their own, and then going, "Hey, man, every piece of work has influence in it." And you're like, "Yeah, that's so true." God, this is such an irrelevant thing to say.
Genres and films. The difference is A New Hope hit it better by combining lots of different things into
it hit it better. There you go. It hit it better, guys. That's how you explain that.
One very new feeling thing. But look, guys, The Force Awakens
they're all copies in exactly the same way, except that one of them was better because it wasn't.
It hit it better. You said it hit it better. That's the way you explain that.
It hit it better by being not a copy.
Like A New Hope. A New Hope's originality is only good because it hit it better than Phantom Menace did when copying A New Hope, and Force Awakens did when copying A New Hope. It makes sense. It hit it better.
New feeling thing. But look, guys, The Force Awakens and all of the sequel trilogy movies are actually Star Wars movies that are about Star Wars movies.
I already knew that. I say that as a criticism, though, as in like it's desperately trying to capture like Star Wars fans, the Star Wars feelings. They're not actual like stories. You know, like the whole story of how Rey is used as a audience insert because the all of it's like commentary on Star Wars as well. At least that's what a lot of the video essays will tell you. It's like the movies are about you. Do you remember we covered Movie Bob's video that said TLJ was a message to the fans of Star Wars about how they need to look at their history, they need to move on, they need to stop like hero worshipping Luke because he's just a man and he can never stand up to. It was like insane nonsense.
Filter too much.
It's an annoying take to try and fix what is clearly broken as fuck. Because that's what you have to do with the sequels every time. It can't be a conventionally well-made, well-executed movie story, etc. It can't be that. We all know it's not that. So it has to be something else. Like, it's a really well-made story about Star Wars itself. It's a story about the people who watch Star Wars. Oh, actually, it's a meta-weaving of an inverse of a classical historical story that represents blah, blah, blah. Oh, they're all commentary on each other, each of the movies. Oh, it's blah, blah, blah. It's like, you could have just admitted
it. It's weird when a movie's really good, I don't have to go to those sorts of
No, you don't,
to
do you?
Explain why it's good.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird. I just talk about the events in the movie and the decisions the characters make and how it all fits together and it makes sense and it's clever and it's interesting. I don't have to go to the meta. The meta, if anything, is just the cherry on the top of an already delicious film.
It should be icing, not cake. Like it needs to be. You have to establish a proper film first, and like there's so much to discuss when it's a quality film. When you have this bullshit, then you have to add all these layers.
That's what people say about The Boys these days. They said about TLJ, it's like, you didn't like it because it was criticizing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't do a very good job.
That's
Wish it tried harder.
About Star Wars movies, especially The Last Jedi. Now look, a lot of digital ink has already been spilled on this movie, and much better film scholars than myself have defended it or torn it down. I, for one, love the movie, but I don't necessarily think it was the right Star Wars movie for its time and place.
When the fuck was the right time for this?
A day that ends in Y is not a good time for this movie.
Yeah.
There's no time for this shit. This stupid shot. Stupid face.
We'll wait for the 10 years after video.
Yeah, that's when they should have
when he
released
said
it.
that. Personally, when he said he liked the LJ, like I'm out, bro. I'm good with the video. Shut the fuck up.
Well,
like,
I knew he was going to say this because at the beginning he said that that the Rise of Skywalker was his. The Force Awakens was his least favorite of the three. So I knew. Oh, that means your favorite is TLJ.
Instantly.
Oh,
no,
because no one's favorite is the third one.
Was the least favorite.
Yeah, right.
No one's. Yeah, that's no one's favorite.
It's okay to hate on that one. That's the way that people view it almost. But TLJ is still protected to this day.
I'd say TFA's entered that as well, but TLJ is still the controversial one. It's like you'll have half the audience stop listening to you if you say you hate or love TLJ.
It sounds weird to
But we'll listen to you, pal, because we love listening here.
distinguish it this way, but I think there's a difference between the two. I think some movies are good movies, and other movies are good Star Wars movies. For instance,
how the
Attack of
fuck do you explain your hatred for Rise of Skywalker?
I've never liked
Like-
this dichotomy.
A differentiation between a film can be a good. If what makes a good movie a good Star Wars movie, how do I explain this? If it takes being a bad movie to make something a good Star Wars movie, then Star Wars isn't a value. Like it doesn't. Then it can't be a good story. You know what I'm saying? Like if the thing that distinguishes a film from being good and bad is its Star Warsness or its franchise-ness, like that's not good. That's terrible.
I think
awful.
It leads you down a really weird path because I believe that is like the primary sort of mode of creation that got us Force Awakens. A lot of people came out of that one being like, that was a Star Wars movie. That felt like Star Wars. I felt like I was back with Star Wars when it was designed to do that, but it wasn't that. And like in retrospect, like I said, nobody rewatches that film and experiences the same magic that they felt. Now they're like, eh.
Well, it's impossible. Like when you see the cliffhanger with Luke, you're gonna just completely laugh or roll thing that is about to leave. Versus when you first saw it, it blew my mind. I was so ready for TLJ to be like one of my favorite movies ever, and then it fucking led to all this. So like it's their approach from the very beginning was just like very superficial and just abusing the fandom. Like Star Wars has always been about Star Wars to them. They don't actually have any new stories to tell or any way to take it. Like the sequels had no potential with their mentality.
It's not a good movie, but it's a good Star Wars movie. Whereas most movies in the sequel trilogy weren't great.
What the fuck does that mean? It drive me insane.
You're gonna have, you gotta explain what that means.
Not a good movie, but it's a good Star Wars movie. Whereas most movies in the sequel trilogy weren't great as movies, but not so well as Star Wars movies. You see, The Last
What the
Jedi.
hell is he
I don't
talking about?
understand yeah,
I'm sorry.
What are you saying, dude?
is he having a stroke?
You reminds me, it's like some numbers are just bad numbers, like 2 and 4, but 3 is a good number. Moving on. You're like, what?
No, it's not even like that. It's like some numbers are good, but some letters can make for good numbers. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
Like the
It's
Empire
fucking
Strikes
gibberish, man.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
back.
like,
I need to decipher that. Is there any logic?
there is no logic in what he's saying. Like
There's nothing.
some bad Star Wars movies are still good movies, but some good Star Wars movies are bad movies. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
Oh goodness.
It's insane.
Last Jedi, like The Empire Strikes Back, is about failure. The movie focused
Man.
At least that's accurate because this movie's a fucking failure. Yeah, I agree with that.
But does that mean that like Empire is also a good movie, but not a good Star Wars movie because they're both about the same thing?
Well-
or is it a good movie and a good Star Wars movie, even though it's like TLJ, which is only a good movie but not a good Star Wars movie? What's the differentiation?
How many times between us all have we heard someone say, oh, Empire, I know, not a great film, but it's a really good Star Wars film. And if you think about its themes, it's pretty good. And, it's a film about Star Wars film. Like, bringing out all the cope. It's like, no, everyone just says it's a fucking great movie, because it is. It's that simple.
What does it say about Star Wars if so many bad movies qualify as good Star Wars movies?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What is it about being a good Star Wars movie that necessitates it being a bad story?
Well, did you see the visual he put on for Attack of the Clones reaching good Star Wars movie? It was Yoda using the Force. Like, oh, are we doing the lightsabers thing? Is
Force,
that
lightsabers, explosions. Look, it's just
flashing lights.
I clapped when
That's
I
it,
saw
pretty
I
much.
clapped.
This is why he needed to establish his
ATST.
criteria from the beginning. He didn't. Like, I have no idea what his standards are or what he looks for in writing. It's just the fucking flashing lights and all the superficial bullshit.
I mean, it might be.
But
We've
we-
seen it. We've heard it a
but he-
lot. We've heard it
but-
a depressing amount.
Yeah, but when he starts to say things like this, when he just goes in complete gibberish mode, like we don't know, like where do we go from here?
You know
idea
what
what he's
this
talking
feels?
about.
This feels like some high school student went to ChatGPT and said, "You know what, ChatGPT, write me an essay." And the part of the essay where some movies are some Star Wars movies, what makes a Star Wars movie good, but the AI hallucinated the
Just
criteria
glitched.
for it,
It
and
glitched out.
Listen,
yeah, and this guy just goes, speaking with total confidence, right? Like, oh, a good Star Wars movie can be a bad movie, but a bad movie can be a good Star Wars movie. And he doesn't understand that what he's saying is stupid because he just, I prompted ChatGPT. ChatGPT wouldn't lie to me.
Can't be wrong.
He can't be
You
wrong.
might even be right. He's like, that's the only cut out a sentence that's just so incoherent.
I don't
It's
usually
so,
do
like-
this, okay, but I feel like ChatGPT would give a more coherent response if you asked it to.
Probably.
Only
would say I'm
humans
not
can
allowed
be
to-
this stupid.
I'm not allowed to discuss topics of self-harm or something like that.
Oh man.
Unless you like sort of instruct it to be like as sappy as it can get, and maybe you'll get the similar result. This is like the same as like as we brought up like food analogy. It's like, oh, this pizza is a terrible food, but it's such a good pizza though. And it's just like it tastes like shit, but it's a good pizza.
Good pizza. It's so round and it has a crust.
And think of the
It's
themes
good
of the pizza. You know, the burnt pizza thing, it talks about failure and how we can learn so much from a burnt pizza about good pizza. So it's good pizza because of that.
This pizza is round, and you know what else is round? A cycle. And that means it's a good story because this is a cycle.
What I'm so tired by too is like, so TLJ is about failure. It's such a turn off entirely from ever listening. It's just like, yes, that's what everyone's been saying to defend this piece of crap for years. They always talk about
Years and
broad
years.
themes. They never talk about what happens in the fucking film.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So
You're so right, man. Not even just for TLJ, for instantly need to go to the themes. I immediately just roll my eyes. Like, okay, that shouldn't be your
I don't-
first line of defense.
I don't think he has mentioned a single plot point
Yeah,
of any of these movies.
this is like a vibes essay.
Themes and
Yeah.
flashing lights.
Strikes Back
Like-
is about failure. The movie focuses on Luke's failure as a mentor, but also other characters like
That we didn't see, by the way.
Yeah.
We didn't see how
Yeah,
or why it
it's
happened.
just source trust me.
We're
Will
about
he-
to shit
will-
on
will-
Finn and Poe. Here we go.
Will he explain the kissing scene and how stupid that is, even in the
Kissing
context of the fucking movie?
No.
No, because it's like I still find that scene so funny because it's like that's how we save people by not killing people, and everyone is dying or
Oh
is
my
gonna die.
God.
That's still
save what we
so
love, not
funny.
fight what we hate.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
God.
Rose Tico. It's
As
and he,
everyone's
she gets
gonna die.
she gets friend zoned and kicked out of the movie in the third, so we're not allowed
Yeah,
to talk
it's
to
Well,
him.
because he's in
Tico.
love with Ray.
Yeah, not even that. No, he's chasing Ray, and then they bring out Jana.
Jerry!
Jana, the Landel's daughter or something. He had 3 love interests throughout the whole movie. They had no idea what they were doing with Finn.
failure as a mentor, but also other characters like Poe, Finn, and Rose have to learn from their own failures to become better people. It's all
Why didn't you? You know what? You didn't help with that elaboration. You may as well have just said the same thing you said twice, which is it's about failure. It's about failure. Because all you said was the characters all fail. You're like, all right.
Also, Rose doesn't fit that because Rose is more of like "I told you so" type of character in this whole fucking thing. Like the side quest in Canto Bight, that was like Rose. Like, oh, now it's worth it when we release the animals.
Dude, this is what I
It's
mean.
totally irrelevant.
These
fucking side
essayists-
quest.
Does it even count as learning from your
Oh my
mistakes?
God.
If everything you do, yeah, okay, fine, it goes wrong, and then you're about to be executed, and then a completely different character just rams a ship through the ship that you're on. Have you learned from your mistake, or have you just been bailed out by the
Oh my
universe?
god, I thought you were literally describing the opening scene of Skyrim. I just had like my brain exploded.
Rose could have fucking killed him. Like, it's such a stupid scene, man. Well, it's oh god.
Him
While
saying, by the
fucking
way-
string is being blown up in the background.
That Rose is one of the several characters who has to learn from failure. It's like you feel as though there's 1 or 2 questions away from just making him go, wait, what? And like thinking about it extensively. And I think a lot of people would assume the script is the size it is because you don't want to elaborate on everything. It's like, no, I think this is him elaborating on everything. This is about as far as it goes. It's like Rose learned from his failures. Like, what failure? Well, you know, like what with Canto
and what did
Bight,
she
you know,
learn?
like
Just the general
general
concept
failure.
out there in the ether of the perfect world out there, the perfect concept of
Well,
failure. Just latch onto that hypothetical.
Hypothetically, if he managed to answer the question with something, let's say trusted Benicio del Toro, you'd be like, okay, so what did she learn? Don't trust people.
So simplistic.
Okay.
It's so simplistic. They just throw it out there and they want us to do the work, the heavy lifting, instead of
It's
actually
crap. It's
explaining
utter
why this
crap.
is meaningful. It's weak writing. It's garbage.
Also, I think, the most visually stunning Star Wars film. You have the large spectacle shots like the Holdo maneuver, but also Johnson.
Why did you not show us the Holdo maneuver when you said the Holdo maneuver?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Also, can
Mark
I just
Hamill was
say,
great as Jake Skywalker, sure.
it's still funny that they had to go out. It's salt when they were in this. It was so funny to me. Like,
It's definitely not snow.
this is not snow, guys. This is salt.
If it was
okay?
snow, that'd be stupid.
I know it looks exactly like Hoth, but it's not Hoth. This is a different movie. Trust me.
Really stunning Star
I think
Wars
he's
film. You have
replaying the trailer. That's why.
Oh, the simple cuts.
He can't
I see.
use. Oh,
He's
he's
lazy
not even.
bastard.
He doesn't even have enough effort to tell his team to get the proper shot.
Lazy
Yeah.
bastard.
large
Well,
spectacle
someone's getting paid for this, but
Yeah.
like, come on.
shots like the Holdo maneuver, but also Johnson places the camera in these intimate spaces directly
It is
in the
the
character's
trailer.
eye lines.
Get out
And
of my
that
intimate
Praetorian
spaces.
guard fight is
Oh,
the
no.
best.
No.
Oh, that's
No.
wrong.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Let's get it
no.
clean. Let's see what he's going to
Don't you do
say.
it.
in the
Oh
character's
my
eye
God,
lines.
it
And
really
that
is.
Praetorian guard fight is the best choreographed fight in Star Wars. Now,
Why would
No,
you
it's not.
say that?
Shut up! Why would you say that? Why did you when the Chat GPT spat that out to you? Why did you like? You know what? This is good. I'll say
It should
this
have
publicly.
It should have broke as soon as you said that. It should
Yeah.
have
You know what? ChatGPT probably said, despite being one of the worst choreographed scenes, it's quite imposing and it's a spectacle to it. He's like, no, best. Like corrects the word. It's like, ChatGPT's like, no, don't do it.
It wouldn't
Well,
even
that's the
say
thing about
anything.
AI.
It would just
AI
it would just highlight.
shockingly easy to gaslight, and that's what he did. He's like, "You
It was-
meant best, right? You did, yes." And then ChatGPT would be like, "Yeah, I did. Yes, it is. Yes, it is the best. Yes."
Oh, my bad.
It would just highlight the fucking disappearing knife. It wouldn't
There's-
even say anything. It would just zoom in on that one image.
There's a universe where it was the best choreography, Jesus, of anything in the Star Wars
There you
films,
go.
but we would never know because of what they ended up using, which was a bad take. Like, let's be honest. Sorry. It's how much work the choreographer did to construct that whole sequence was kind of wasted on screen because they left in a whole bunch of flubs and a lot of waiting for people's cues.
It's
And
just
no
a lot
force.
of nonsense.
Nobody used
How
the
does
force.
Ray kick and 3 grown men fly back? Is like
Like,
what?
force kick.
What? Oh, okay. Well,
How
there
does
you
the
go.
knife
Magic
disappear?
solved it.
Force disappear.
Force
Yeah.
disappear.
Why does
and also
Kylo
Force
get
gun.
strangled and forget that he has the force? Like there's so
Force
many
Force
things that-
strangle.
How can you say this also when fucking Duel of the Fates exists? Like how can
Yeah,
you still
you
be
just can't.
confidently wrong? Like,
Well,
it has
yeah,
to be
so
It's
AI.
better in every way.
Anakin Obi-Wan, the choreography
was
for their
peak.
fight is obviously like incredible to the point of the closest I think you'll get in the entire saga for like a realistic lightsaber fight with how they play it, right? Like that would be Nick Gillard at maximum talent level trying to make that work. But I would still say, you know, you got to have the honorable mention of Phantom Menace's big ol' the Duel of the Face fight is amazing as well. But then, you know, the OT isn't to be counted out too. I love the Bespin
Really
duel.
isn't? Yeah.
Obi-Wan's sequence
Going
with
through all the
Darth Maul,
corridors, the difference in skill.
his sequence with Darth Maul directly after Qui-Gon is killed is like my personal. That
Yeah.
10 seconds of them just going at it. That's what I want out of fucking every fucking lightsaber fight. But you need it to mean something at the same time too. They miss both of those components. It means nothing. I don't care, and it looks like shit. Like I don't know how they can completely miss the mark this bad on all these things.
Well, I mean,
not that hard.
the throne room fight was just funny at a certain point of just spotting all of the fuck ups and all the different Praetorian guards that are just sort of standing there like,
What do we do here?
like I think it was in Chad's video where some guy was gonna stab Ray, but he just turns around.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, they're just standing there.
What was
Yeah.
remarkable about it is you'd expect, say there are 10 players, that one of them is doing a flub per moment, but it's more like 6. Like with every single person you track, they're all doing weird shit because this is what I'm trying to get at. It is hard to do that. It's a huge dance, right? And everyone has to know the moves perfectly because if the blades don't connect, then it's going to be awkward. There's a moment where someone goes to like swipe at Rey and he's going to hit her, so he has to raise it above her head, and you see that happen. It's just like, man, come on. You know, like we gotta do it again. You gotta keep going until you get it
Yeah.
right.
Super
Yeah,
amateur.
I think there was a miscommunication between the camera work and the choreography because this was not choreographed for a wide shot.
Well, something went wrong.
Yeah, if you didn't have the wide shot, then people wouldn't say, "Oh, look how impressive it is," because you've got the inexplicably burning red curtains around the walls, which I guess
because she
just
tossed
likes the upholstery.
She tossed a lightsaber whip at it, right?
Yeah, and so it caught fire, and then it looked really cool. And because it's a wide angle, you aren't supposed to pay attention too much to the technical inadequacies of the choreography. But you know, as has been mentioned, like that's one part of the equation. The choreography, I don't think, is as good as has been made out, but the context of it, the thing that gives it that sort of aesthetic meaning to it, which is the story it's trying to tell and the story it's a part of, also doesn't hold up. You know, you've just seen supposedly the big bad guy decapitate himself because he's a fucking moron, and we don't know who he is still, and he's supposed to be like this version of the Emperor until we get the Emperor back. So that's silly. Then you've got the sheer number of people and how good we're supposed to believe they are. And they have to attack almost one or two at a time, because if they did all attack at once, then they would have to win. So that's kind of breaking the choreography right from the beginning. It's one of those things I think people have latched onto just because of it's a wide angle shot, and because people don't look too closely, and because they don't look at the story around it. It looks superficially splendid, like the blowing up the planet scene from earlier, but it's the same problem. Just because it looks superficially good doesn't mean it makes any sense or is actually worthy of your attention, because when you do pay attention, it turns out it's not.